And we're back. Thank you, Face. Okay. I believe Schrag had an idea for something he wanted to do.
Yeah, so I would like to pull Talanor aside. So how I want to do this is I think we can extrapolate. So we were talking a bit off mic. We have some time before we maybe pursue this lead with the lizard, in which our ships need to resupply. Maybe even there's something going on behind the scenes where like the merfolk are trying to chase down leads on where it is or something. So we have some time where we're just in port, not to figure out what to do with this time. And I would like to say that Talanor is pulled aside because there is a ceremony, a naval ceremony occurring, perhaps an officer's ball, a retirement, a graduation, something of the sort. And Admiral Jezrin must be present at a dance, which is going to be crashed. But not necessarily by Vivien as they would normally appear. I think in this they are going to enlist the help of their partner Quixote, possibly Phee if they have that kind of power, to disguise themselves as someone that, as far as Vivien is concerned, doesn't exist in this world. And they are going to show up as Ed Park. In as Ed. You know, that ghost that Vivien was chasing in the house game.
Oh. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phee can have helped because Quixote may not be immediately around and Phee is. So
Phee, why do you need to be disguised like this? No reason.
Yeah, I love the visual of you've Vivien's got this outfit together and Phee braids their hair back into like a neat queue for them and is braiding something into it, like ribbon or some dried seaweed or something, and is weaving the charm in, and as the braid is tied off, the glamour sort of ripples out over it. And don't take your hair down or it'll... Okay?
Thanks, Phee.
Why?
I appreciate the help.
Uh-huh. I bet you do. Try not to get stabbed.
Not getting stabbed is one of my special talents. I'm very good at it.
That's not what I've had. Smirks and walks off.
Hey.
Thank you, Dirk. Yes, this is a verse joke. Yes, it is.
Look, Vivien got this uniform off of an officer and probably didn't have to kill them to do so.
Good for them.
Yeah, so they are going to sneak into this dance as this junior officer. People don't necessarily know, but they managed to bluff their way in and give Talanor, I think a hand signal that they would recognize from the Rogue world, because they had matching disguises in that world, and so they would probably need a way to recognize each other.
Yeah. So, you and your chosen partner play, though other characters may join if it makes sense for them to do so. What do you notice about each other? What have you heard? Talanor has shaved and is looking less unkempt. And what you've heard is that he has been given a formal reprimand by the Empire for losing a prisoner. And he is standing very tall and stiffly over, kind of like by the wall, hands behind his back vibe, just watching the dance, because he's expected to be here, but he doesn't want to do the social thing.
I'm totally with you, because after a curry, I need at least 2 shits before I start my day.
Okay, yeah. Where are you dancing? How did you come to be here? I think we've covered that. Is this a celebration or a more somber affair? Depends on who you ask. Talanor is presumably having a very bad time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. During the dance, anyone can ask for details about the setting, occasion, and circumstances. So to play the game, the worst dancer in its domain starts. The worst dancer may be the best underwater or on land, but in this domain, they're the least graceful of the pair, which I think opens up an opportunity, because while Vivien is dashing and very charismatic generally, they are maybe not as familiar with the Navy's steps.
Yeah, I think Talanor has had like formal training in this sort of shit. So he would be he's not a good dancer, but he is a practiced dancer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Talanor dances correctly, even if he does not dance better.
Yes.
All right, so we take turns asking questions from our list. After you've each asked 2 questions, the dance ends. Other players have joined the dance. They may also choose a partner and ask 2 questions each.
So, Talanor's standing over by the edge, and Vivien, in the guise of Ed, gives this hand signal, and Talanor like recognizes it and does like a small up nod. How does Vivien get him onto the dance floor?
I think Vivien makes up a story about, only being here because, the Admiral. Some story about like, oh, my father was a good friend of the Admiral's, and I owe him everything. The least I could do is be here for him at this moment. And then just very, very cheeky aside to Talanor, they're going to make it worse if you don't participate.
I think he glares daggers at you, but accepts the dance. Were you going to say something, Jade?
No, I wanted to add a detail.
Yes.
Because I think part of the reason why Vivien was able to get in is because Rebel was coming in at about the same time and gave Vivien the absolute sharpest look. Not like I recognize you, but like I see something.
Yeah, this is definitely like, I saw this person as a ghost.
No,
This cannot be a coincidence.
no. Rebel is actually looking at Vivien's hair.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But Rebel looked at the hair, then noticed the face, and was like, "Okay, I will help you in."
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Okay, the worst dancer starts.
All right. So yeah, as I think I was telling Danielle before we got back on, my motives for playing the dance were mostly to have a conversation with Talanor, so I may have conversation before getting to the question per se.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Vivien just leans in. Look, before I say what I want to say, I want you to understand that the life I have in this world, it's really good for me. I'm doing really well. And I don't need to be here. You know what I'm risking by being here. And I am unused to dancing in this domain. Do you guide me through the steps with disdain or generosity?
Generosity. I think he is a good lead. Mostly because, like, the way that he moves is so when you're dancing, for those of you who in the audience maybe haven't done this kind of dancing before, the way as a follow you know what the lead is going to do is mostly based on like shifts in weight and like changing of grip and stuff like that. There is no discussion that happens for like what patterns you're going to do. But I think the way that he moves, because he does the moves very correctly and also like is extremely cognizant of telegraphing his moves, he's an easy lead to follow. And he, as you kind of say this, I think his expression gets kind of closed off, but he like nods slowly and focuses on listening and doing the dance right so that you don't have to worry about your feet while you're saying whatever you're saying. What does Vivien say?
Yeah, just I don't want this to be the last world we visit. Because I know who you are here. And I know what happens to you when you get this far in. I want to keep going until we find a world where your life can be better.
I stumble for a moment. Do you take this opportunity to draw me back into place, or do you let me founder?
No, Vivien draws you back into place. They are not going to draw any undue attention to either of us at this moment.
Mm-hmm. he's quiet for a while. Like, that song finishes, another one starts up. They get a good way into that song before he finally says anything. And he says, Vivien, this is the 4th world we've been to, if we count where we started. And in every single one of them, my life follows the same trajectory. Giazai dies because of something that I did. I take that out on the world around me until I burn out. And then I start taking the steps to be a better person. What does it say about me that the most consistent hallmarks of me, of my existence in all of these worlds, is the death of my husband, like he only exists for my development, like I never start out a good person, Vivien. And as much as this hurts, I don't know if I want to see a world where he doesn't die. Because then who would I be? And even that feels like a betrayal of him. Because he deserves a good life. He deserves it more than I do. But a world where I don't lose him is a world where I don't get better. And that's a world where the damage that I do is completely unchecked.
Vivien obviously looks just devastated, pleadingly. But before they can say anything, we briefly part as the dance demands. Are you eager to return to me?
I think not eager. I think that I have maneuvered us into this particular kind of pattern on purpose to give me some space, with the recognition that that has to end, right? Like, we have to come back together. But I feel like I've done this on purpose.
I like that. Vivien looks almost a little hurt by that, recognizing that You wanted to say your piece and leave it hanging. And they just look incredibly intently into your eyes. I don't know why whatever keeps moving us between these worlds has a sick sense of humor when it comes to you. I don't know why it wants to keep you trapped in this cycle. If I have my way, I am going to keep us going until either we find a place where things can be better, because I know, regardless of what you think about yourself, you can choose to be better if we just catch it early enough, or until I find whatever is doing this and kick its ass. You know that people like GSI don't just exist to have been dead. There's got to be a world where you can simply exist, where you can learn what being a good person means before the world shows you what it means to be a bad one. I have to believe that this can work. Oh, I could cause problems on purpose.
Do it.
A lock of hair has fallen out of place. Thank you, Jade. Do you fix it?
I think we'll mix that with the music stops. Do you stay by my side a while, or do you rush away? And I think what happens is Talanor, in response to that, asks, why do you even care? And before Vivien can answer, the music stops, and Talanor brings them to a stop, and kind of tucks the little charm back into Vivien's hair more securely, and just kind of stands there. His shoulders are slumped. He looks defeated, tired, and just kind of like lets this question hang. Do you stay by my side a while, or do you rush away?
I stay by your side. If I can zoom out into player space, do you, Danielle, want this question answered, or do you want it to stay in the air?
I'm down either way.
Okay. I would like to answer it.
Okay.
I care because I've seen what you become every single time. You're a good person. You choose to be a good person. how could I not want the best for you? I think that's about all they have time to say before, protocol would dictate that they have to step away. They have not disguised themselves as a high enough rank to have this prolonged conversation after the social custom has been met. And as the button on this scene, I would like to say that as Vivien steps away, tries to melt into the shadows and leave before someone figures them out and chases them away from port at gunpoint, Talanor notices someone else walking in to the function, and it is a very much alive and perhaps unknown to him, Ed.
Good shit.
Well played, you bastard.
A plus.
All right.
Now that we've had a dance, someone has to do a duel.
I mean, August, have you haven't chosen a scene yet, have you?
Yeah, I have.
Oh yeah, no, you chose to, yeah.
Yeah, I chose to get
Who
drunk.
hasn't chosen? Jade. Fight someone.
No.
Okay.
Because I can't think of anyone they want to fight or need to fight.
That doesn't, yeah.
As entertaining as that would be.
And it would be very entertaining.
I mean, also, I think I sort of chose furtive discussion anyway. Like, this has been a group effort so far. I know it's possibly my turn, but I have no idea.
That's fair. All right, who needs to fight someone?
Well, I know Dirk had mentioned wanting Rebel to have an excuse to talk to Marius, so maybe there's
Please,
some reason.
go right ahead.
Some reason we
Break
do a
bread.
duel.
We haven't done breaking bread yet.
A duel can happen. I am not averse to a duel.
Yeah.
Yeah, breaking
love a
bread
duel.
can happen too. It's up to you, Dirk. I just
Let me take a look at Breaking Bread, because I think that's probably what I want to do.
Breaking Bad's just a conversation over food by another name. Like it lends itself nicely to just easy conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like it to be Breaking Bread.
okie dokie.
So we know Rebel was at this particular shindig. Was Marius also?
I don't think so. I think they're really feeling the pressure to do something about this artifact, so I don't think that they're allowed much time to do things that aren't research.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that they were at the dance. I don't think they know anything that happened at the shindig.
Okay. Then where would Rebel find Marius? Because ostensibly, we're all on land at the moment because, we need replies or our ships need repairs, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You could be bringing them food,
Ooh.
like as an excuse they need to eat. Also, I feel like this is a callback to the game where Marius was born. Just thinking about that original Kingdom game. So,
God, that's been forever.
Yeah.
Literal
busting out the
years.
deep cuts.
The fuck is time?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in that case, I think Rebel would bring Marius some food, like
Just a bunch of canapes from the party wrapped in a napkin.
oh no.
Why not?
People.
Might have had excellent food. You've not. I'm sorry. Has not taken good food from an event they've been to have later. Or am I the only working class schlub here who has absolutely pilfered food from a gig?
Oh no! When I was in high school, I practically not high school, college. I practically lived on like free food events. So.
Oh yeah.
No, I think the only reason why it's not that is because Rebel's logic is I want to bring Marius like an actual full meal as opposed to whatever I can stick in my pockets.
Yeah.
So I think Rebel probably brings like a bread bowl of some with like some really good stew in it, and like maybe a mug of like small beer or something like that, like something you can just drink with your meal, not like to get drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And where's Rebel at? Not Rebel, Marius.
So I think that maybe they're holed up in like a hostel on shore. They're probably poring over a couple of tomes that they've requisitioned from some folks on land, because they don't have soft skills, but they do have a military uniform to help them get stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they're doing and where they are when Rebel finds them.
Yeah. I think Rebel is not still in like shindig clothes, but is like looking nice. Probably like took off the suit jacket and is just wearing, the vest and shirt over some slacks.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Rebel is not staying in this hostel, so I think actually, Rebel is still in like shindig clothing, which is, the naval uniform with like jacket unbuttoned, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Gloves in the pocket. And
I think Marius is still in their everyday uniform, even though it's late. And just they don't look happy.
I think, like, is there a door to knock on, or is it like an open space?
I think there's a door to knock on, but if Rebel chooses to knock, Marius is just like, come in.
Yeah, so I think Rebel does choose to knock and brings in this bowl of really nice smelling stew. And I don't know what the quality of food at this particular hostel is, but if it's not great, then it's possibly not food from here.
I think it's funnier if it's not food from here.
Yeah. So, Rebel's just like, hey, sorry, I need a second to think of how Rebel would put this. Because it's not just, hey, I heard you needed food. It would be more like, I thought you might want something to eat. It's getting pretty late.
Marius, like, looks Rebel up and down, looks at the food, and just says, "What's the occasion?"
There was a graduation for someone. The Admiral Talanor was there, and I got invited as well. And like, Rebel kind of looks pleased, and I think Marius would know that Rebel being invited says something about Rebel's standing. Either Rebel is high standing or, has the potential to go higher than where they currently are.
Yeah. And Marius just kind of snorts and accepts, clears off a space on the table and accepts the food and says, "I appreciate it. This place does not have the most nutritious options. I think you can tell that Marius is in a little bit of a mood, so I'm going to say I'm feeling gregarious. What would you like to know about me?"
I think the way this gets broached is before they can think, sort of think it through fully, they ask, well, why did you pick here to stay as opposed to names a place, the Lock and Key, which is A, a much nicer place, and B, a more expensive place. And then Rebel says that and then goes, "Oh, wait. Sorry. You've probably got loans. How can I help? I don't have loans." And basically, Rebel's like, "I'm in a really good position to offer you assistance. What do you need?" Which is probably technically another thing on here, but
I think Marius shakes their head and says, "The longer we're here, the more I worry that we'll be stuck here, and the more that I worry about the assignments that I was given before we got here. And I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm chasing dead ends, and I'm not sure that we'll be able to find what we're looking for on more fronts than one.
Rebel looks very solemn. And like has been listening attentively. And I think genuinely says, is it so bad here for you?
Marius holds their hands in front of them on the kind of cramped desk and says, "The magic here feels wrong. It's not what I'm used to, and it's not Rebel. I know that we aren't particularly close, but do you really think that I'm happy in the Navy?"
Rebel very seriously considers this question. I don't know how to answer that, actually, because he'd asked me before. I thought I wouldn't be happy in the Navy, but I really am, actually. I am. I'm doing really well. I have prospects. And I know what to do. There are rules for how to do things. And I think I'd be the last one to enjoy rules, but honestly, I don't know. Maybe it's something about getting to spend time with my parents. Rebel shrugs. But now that I think about it, if you're asking, I would guess that means you're probably not very happy.
Marius nods a little. And I think they take a bite of the stew and they say, this is much better than what I would be able to procure here.
Oh my god, I think I think Rebel might do this.
Do it.
Rebel says, well, if we are stuck here and you don't join Vivien, you and I could always get married. At the very least. That way we'd be able to get you out of the Navy.
I think Marius considers... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there is a second, and then Rebel adds, you'd have to be nice to my parents, though.
I think Marius considers for a moment and then says, last time, the last place we were, I was married after a fashion. And while I appreciate the offer, I'm not sure that's something that I can do. And Marius is clearly struggling for the words here. Like, trying to talk about their feelings is not their strong suit. And finally they say, I appreciate the offer, but I don't think that I would make a particularly good spouse.
Well, that wasn't why I offered. But that's okay. Just if you need anything, and I do mean anything, please ask for help. I will be happy to give it. Or, send me an invoice or something. Shrugs.
I think Marius, nods and says, I suppose this is a long shot, but have you heard of the Universal Veil?
I'm trying to decide, should Rebel have heard of the Universal Veil?
I mean, it's entirely up to you. It's just a MacGuffin that is hanging over this Marius's head, so.
Then I think Rebel looks a little surprised and says, yeah, actually. there's a journal. I read it when I was a kid. I think one of my grandparents went looking for it or had it or something like that.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Oh, what part did you miss?
Just like the last couple of sentences, my brain just completely shut down for a sec.
Nah, you're good. So Rebel says, yeah, I have heard of it, actually. I read a journal when I was a kid. I think one of my grandparents owned it or was looking for it, something like that. I could ask for that journal to be sent to us. Maybe you could find something helpful there.
And Marius says, I would deeply, deeply appreciate that. And looks kind of relieved.
And Rebel nods. Alrighty then. Well, enjoy your dinner. I hope you get some rest, and I'll go send the message now.
I think that's seen.
Agreed.
Do we wish to end with the Great Hunt? Are there more scenes that people want to do? Because I feel like we are getting to the time where we could do a last minigame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's an idea. Do we want folks to do like a short like monologue or just plain old scene about what they're doing before we set out on this hunt that will probably end our time in this world?
I just had a terrible idea.
Ooh, we love terrible ideas.
What if we all get together for a game of Truth or Dare the night before we head out for the Great Hunt?
Yes,
Very good.
I wanted Truth or Dare so much.
Good.
I think, I would like to pitch that this is the kind of thing that happens, like, we've got a bonfire somewhere secluded that we're meeting around for, like, our last hurrah before we try to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So with Truth or Dare, everybody plays. You're gathered somewhere in the night and you're well sated after a meal. What do you notice about each other? What have you heard? And we go around the table and choose another character to ask Truth or Dare. Choose freely from the list below or make up your own. No player may be targeted more than twice in a round, nor may the same dare or question be made more than once in a round. And if someone refuses to answer or perform their dare, they are out of the game. Characters may lie, but the spirit of the game is to tell the truth. If it's obvious the character is lying at the player's discretion and they get called on it, they are out. No dares should be lethal, though they may be humiliating or cause mild to moderate discomfort. So, who brings up the idea of Truth or Dare? Is it Rebel?
That feels right to me.
Oh my god, I know, I fully know what it is. Like, we're all around this fire, we finished eating, it's too late to, like, actually do anything, but not late enough for bed. And, like, you're having that moment where everybody's just sort of awkwardly looking at each other or not looking at each other. Rebel's like, we could play truth or dare.
I think Marius just kind of like gives Rebel a look, but doesn't say no.
Talanor has got his jacket off, has rolled up his pants and taken his boots off, and is sitting near to the water, with his feet in the water as I think the tide is going out. And he kind of like, he leans back on his hands and looks over his shoulder at Rebel. Like, I think, what's truth or dare?
The look on Rebel's face is like, you have just given him a gift. Given them a gift. And I think Rebel says, it's a game. And you should definitely join us.
Squints. See,
Rebel
when you say it like
genuinely...
that... You were saying Rebel looks genuinely...
Yeah, just looks genuinely happy.
Vivien just gives a very amused grin, just like, it's a children's game meant to cause embarrassment and mild discomfort for everyone involved.
It's also a good way to get to know each other.
In my experience, that is always secondary.
I think he just looks confused. We've had 4 lifetimes to get to know each other. I mean, I don't know all of you particularly well, but why
well,
is
then
this a
this
game?
would be the opportunity to ask. Because it's a children's game. Because children like to have a reason to ask each other difficult questions, or questions they wouldn't normally be allowed to, or do silly things, or have a chance to be brave under the pretext that somebody dared them to do it. It gives freedom to be truthful or to do a thing that you might not do otherwise.
Huh.
It's what you make of it. Like most things.
I'm starting to understand why I haven't heard of this game.
Let me tell you about this time that my friends were stuck in the frigid part of the ocean.
That's a deep cut, Schrag.
A little bit. But don't worry about it.
He's referencing Dumb Kids and when they played Truth or Dare in the ship up in the Arctic.
Oh, God. God, I forgot about that.
All right, who's going first?
Well, as Rebel suggested the game, they should get thrown under the bus.
Yeah.
Alternatively, August gets thrown under the bus as they suggested the game in Meat Space.
No, I am happy to go first. And I think fuck. The difficulties of picking somebody. Beans.
You can always roll for it.
Yeah, roll a d4.
That is an excellent idea. I am so glad I know you very smart humans.
Just make sure you assign a number to everybody before you hit enter.
Oh.
Or just do it alphabetical.
Yeah, I'm just going to do it alphabetical. So. So that is Phee.
All right.
So I think Rebel looks at Phee and says, Phee, truth or dare?
He would raise an eyebrow, but this is one thing I forgot to mention. They don't have eyebrows. It has that fully plucked look to it. It's not immediately obvious, to be fair. Like, it's got quite a pronounced brow bone, so you get the vibe even if there isn't the thing there. Yeah.
Sorry, was that dare?
There. Yeah.
I think. I thought of something. I'm not going to do that because it wouldn't be as entertaining as it feels in my head.
Fair enough.
I think
Dora, I'd explore it. Here, one finger trove. There it is. Malt on Broadway.
I think the dare is going to be taste the lips of the one here you most desire, be they willing. I don't think that's how Rebel puts it, but that's the dare. So, I think Rebel probably puts it more as there's 4 of us here. Of the 4 of us, pick the person you most want to kiss, and if they let you, give them a kiss.
Squints a little at Rebel. I don't do that. And then smiles, and you just see a lot of sharp teeth. It's no
Rebel
comment
looks
on anyone.
very impressed by those teeth. Because
it is no offense to anyone here. I don't find any of you interesting in that regard. I don't really find anyone interesting in that regard. You're all aesthetically pleasing enough in your way. As far as humans go.
Rebel's mouth opens at that last one, like they're gonna ask a question, and then they look around to see if anybody else caught it.
I think Vivien's going to try to cover for it with a snide remark, but other folks can have looks.
And then, because Phee does know how truth or dare works, we'll look to Vivien, who just saved their butt, as it were.
Yeah.
And
Specifically, they're going to say, that's a shame. I always find those teeth to be a challenge.
I already know far more about the two of you than I care to. Grins. Mixed Black. Captain Blackthorn, truth or dare?
Well, choosing truth would just be boring when it comes to you. What could I possibly tell you?
Just because I would know if you were lying doesn't mean anybody else would.
We're going to go for dare anyway.
Share a song with us, Captain. The bawdiest one you know. And spare no lyrics for the sake of sensitive ears. And you can obviously extrapolate Schrag. I think that's what we've done in the past, playing these sorts of games.
Mm-hmm.
This is truly what I regret having not looked up songs of his name prior to the game. Because I would absolutely do it if I could.
I know you would have. I know.
Yeah, this is... I think one of those songs that are just the very thin metaphor layered on top of just this is the story of this promiscuous young lady who went about and so on and so forth.
Uh-huh.
I have a very important question. Does the promiscuous young lady at any point in the story hook up with a mermaid?
Yeah, among other things that become gradually less acceptable than that.
Yeah, the merfolk's like verse 5 of 10. Just
yeah. And yeah, there's a strange, like, tangible power that comes over the room because, like, song is like a component of Vivien actually tapping into magic.
What does it feel like for everyone to be around, or what's the effect that the song has, do you think?
I think primarily it's just like he wouldn't necessarily know what this is feeling like for other people, but I think it's sort of the thing where your heartbeats all sync up.
Love that.
Yeah, because it's about working in time to, do the hauling or the, the rowing at the same moment. And so it's just that moment of synchronicity. Uh, Professor Favors. Truth or dare?
Marius looks a little incensed and says, "I don't trust any of your dares, any of you.
Probably.
And I have no compunctions about speaking the truth. So, truth."
August, do you want this to be funny or serious? Because I have a serious one, but I don't know that that's the tone we're going for.
I don't know. Like, I'd be fine either way. So, whichever one you feel is more narratively interesting.
Okay, I'm going to leave it at, what does your heart most desire?
Marius blinks for a moment. And they look a little like they look taken aback for a moment. And then they like cast their gaze elsewhere, and I need to roll to see if they do something.
All right, how many drinks in is Marius?
And I think in this moment, they're being truthful when they say, "I wish I could have known Kari better." They don't say who Kari is, but that's what they say, and they leave it at that.
I forget, did that name come up last time? Would Talanor know?
I think Talanor would have known, yeah. Because I want to say it did come up.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't remember if names were used.
I think it's more fun if Talanor knows.
Yeah.
You know, even if it doesn't come up in the truth or dare, I just think it's fun if Talanor knows that.
I think he inclines his head, but he doesn't say anything about it.
Trying to think about how Marius is trying to think about how to address Talanor before finally settling on Jezrin.
Silly fucker!
Yes?
Truth or dare?
Oh. Truth, I suppose.
Marius thinks for a second and then says, "What will you do if we make it home?"
I think this silence is in character. I don't rightly know. probably shouldn't publish our findings.
That gets a laugh out of Marius.
I mean, maybe we should. It does offer a kind of perspective. But we'd have to be able to ensure that people could make it back, and I don't think certainty has anything to do with what's been happening to us. Rebel, truth or dare?
I'll take a dare.
Okay. Oh, goodness.
Excuse me.
Give the fairest among us a token showing that you find them to be the most pleasing to the eye. We'll bring it full circle.
God. Fuck.
Because if that's something that Rebel asked, then clearly Zay would be comfortable answering a similar question himself. That's how that works, obviously.
Obviously.
Dirk learning in real time that his actions have consequences.
No. I think Rebel, like a bunch of expressions go over Rebel's face.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rebel looks around for a moment and picks up like a cool shell,
Mm-hmm.
brushes it off, and gives it to Talanor.
I think he looks genuinely extremely surprised. And he probably blushes a little bit. Thank you. Huh. Looks down at the shell, brushes it off some more, slips it into his shirt pocket.
Rebel is not looking at anybody.
Talanor's probably the safest person Rebel could have a crush on because he's super hung up.
Yeah. So I think Rebel like sits back down, leaning back on their hands, looking up at the sky. Phee, truth or dare?
Yeah. I was just going to ask if we wanted to leave it at the one round, just because I'm aware of the time, and I don't know how Jade is faring energy-wise.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
I'm fine.
All right. Sorry to interrupt that.
Oh no, you're good. I did not notice the time, so. And actually, we probably should because I do have a heart out today. So.
Ah. Yeah, I do want to get to the Great Hunt before we call it.
Yeah.
Then let's say the game of truth or dare continued as the camera fades to black and we come up with the rising sun on the Great Hunt. So I've not done any scene describing, so I'll take the lead on this one. Everyone plays. Determine what you are hunting and how. Other players may ask questions about your quarry at any time. Well, we have established we are on the hunt for the lizard. For those of us who are not maybe present for our earlier rounds, the lizard started off as a creature brought possibly by the mushrooms as a gift for Erwin. And then was at the house. Either it was large or we were small. It was not clear. And sort of helped us get away from people that were chasing us or whoever it was. It was weird, creepy house bullshit because it's house. And then was Phee's sort of familiar, for want of a better term, or at least was described as such in Going Rogue. Basically, the arrival of the lizard tends to predicate the shifting. So hence the logic here. So I assume we've got a small, like a schooner or some kind of smaller ship that's shallower. This is me showing off my research on 1700 sailing ships. Something a low draft doesn't ride you behind the water, nice and maneuverable, not too many sails.
It's a Dutch fleet.
Nippy. Exactly, that's the good shit. But not evil this time. But I'm imagining the lizard for the sake of scale and the way it's been talked about in this universe. Obviously more like a sea serpent kind of vibe, but I'm thinking like not full like megalodon sized, but like they're like the prehistoric crocodile kind of size.
Okay.
Like big lizard. Big lizard. I don't know actual numbers, but like all like Moby Dick, like whale, like bigger than a whale shark, maybe not quite as big as a blue whale, but large. I don't know.
Okay, so
Large.
So
I don't know how big the prehistoric megafauna are. I'm sorry, Danielle. You are the wise one in the way of science and animals here.
You've just listed 4 very different animals.
Well, I don't know.
You're also tired, so I definitely get a pass.
I don't know what gave that away. It's big. It's big.
Yes, large.
It is not.
Is it larger than our ship?
I think it's large enough to do serious damage to the ship if it was inclined.
Okay. So we're talking like Jaws versus the little fishing boat kind of size. Not actually bigger than the ship, but
in terms of in scale with each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. On the same page. That's all that matters.
We got there. So good. To be fair, I think we're still better at envisioning the size of a thing than Austin Walker is at describing normal periods of time. All credit to Mr. A_Walker, but you know what? We all have our strengths and our blind spots as GMs, and some people just really have interesting ideas about the passage of time. We love that. Let's go on a search for a big aquatic lizard.
Word.
Playing the game. The other all players take turns choosing a series of at least 4, but no more than 6 hazards. We can also make up our own. Hazards can be repurposed. We throw coins to determine the outcome of the hunt, and the number of coins that we gain overall determines the outcome. We end the game by getting 4 or more coins. Basically, when we decide we've chased enough, then we look at the number of coins we have. So
I think it makes sense if we each do 1 hazard.
Sounds great.
More or less.
Yeah.
Who would like to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Since our climate is unpredictable, you catch wind of your quarry on the other side of a dangerous ice flow. Throw. On heads, you make it through unscathed, making good time, gain a coin. On tails, your progress slows to a near crawl. So let me... Tab go, there we go. And the result is heads. We gain a coin.
Woo!
Heck yeah.
And I think this is due to the fact that we have a smaller, more maneuverable ship than like any of our regular ships. Otherwise, we never would have been able to make it through.
Nice.
Log it out, Bryan.
And remember, the hazards are not prescriptive. You can make up your own hazard if you want to.
I think next we return to a site your quarry recently terrorized. Throw. On heads, there's valuable information about your quarry's current path. Gain a coin. On tails, there's nothing useful to be found. And that is another heads.
Damn.
So what did this large lizard terrorize?
A cricket farm.
Palm grove. Oh, wait, what if they're giant crickets?
I want to twist it a little bit. I don't know if it's necessarily terrorized, but I think maybe we run into someone who has like seen it recently. What do we like the sound of better? This being one of our merfolk friends, or this being a cameo by the Bandolite boat?
It definitely needs to be the Bandolites.
All right. Yeah, my illustrious cousin, having retreated into deeper waters, has had a near miss with this strange beast, and is able to tell us which way it went.
Nice.
Hey, bruh. Yay.
A freak weather pattern is causing water spouts. Throw. On heads, you weather it without being thrown off course, gain a coin. On tails, your heading has shifted, and it takes some time for you to regain your course. heads.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
So these we've passed the ice floe, and we have finished our rendezvous with the Bandolites out in open water, and I think at the head of an upcoming storm. It's just an ungodly number of water spouts that we have to navigate. But we make it through.
So the quarry is said to roost near a sunken university. Ahead, the path there is an easy one, and we're able to handily make the journey, gain a coin. On tails, the way is too treacherous to even risk.
Oof.
We're going to have to find another way there. I think what it is, because of where we are in the game, because of what the time is, because of what's been revealed, I think, well, yeah, then it's like we really quickly realize that we're not going to be able to take the ship there. Phee looks to the others and says, we could go without the boat. Glances to Vivien.
Talanor raises an eyebrow. I mean, I can swim, but this water is extremely cold.
I think Rebel also looks at Vivien and says, well, Vivien, you know magic, don't you?
Oh, it's not me that we're following.
I'm not saying it'll be easier. I'm saying it'll be more direct.
It'll make it a lot more difficult for these versions of us to get back. But I think I may be the only one who really cares about that anymore.
Yeah.
I also
Your
care.
fox will find you, Captain. I will not do this unless you are all willing to do so. I can grant this ability for a time.
Talanor looking at everybody else like clearly he's missing something. Do what?
Swim, Admiral.
I mean, as I said, it's still far.
Phee, maybe you should just show them.
Yeah, Phee walks up to the edge of the, probably like up to the bow, climbs up onto the balustrade, and does a super neat little dive straight down into the water. And when they pop back up, the human form has washed away. And now for the first time, and to be fair, Vivien knows, but I don't know if Vivien has seen this.
Probably not.
Phee is even paler. Their skin is that almost sort of. I can't compare this to fucking raw fish, but that's all I can. Is that sort of almost translucent white, like you see with calamari, dappled with bioluminescence. Their mouth is smaller, the teeth sharper within it, and streaming out behind them are these long, delicate-looking tentacles, 4 of which are connected by this iridescent, almost sheer-looking skin. And if y'all have ever seen a blanket octopus, they're fucking cool as hell. Google it now. I'll wait. I've just dropped a picture for us in our chat.
Ooh. Those are so
The
pretty.
females are huge in this species. The males are like an inch long. It's incredible. But they're also known as like superhero octopuses because it looks almost like a cape when they're swimming. It like streams out behind them.
That's so pretty.
And then in y'all's head, just like, as I said, we can swim.
That does make more sense.
You then get the visual of Phee using like a couple of tentacles to like climb up the side of the boat, full like suckers style, and will do a charm to grant y'all really maybe the slightly more traditional fishtails, or given that you guys are human, maybe it's more like a Selkie kind of a situation, like you become like seals.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think what they'll do is explain is like, and we'll gloss through like similar to what the regent did for your cousin and his family. It's easier for humans to remember to get back to themselves if they don't go too far away. Now, try to keep up. As we swim to the roost of the great lizard. And I think as we go, the water is like super clear. These massive groves of bioluminescent coral and algae. And it's like almost like going into one of those scare houses or something where it's just like all like black lights and everything is glowing. As we sort of travel down and into these ruins of this university. As we work our way to a familiar, but not too familiar, seeming laboratory space.
I think, Dirk, you're going to take us home with our last hazard.
Yeah.
You may have to make one up.
I'm going to adapt one. Your quarry may have... So I think what it is like we all sort of recognize this laboratory, and I think we all just sort of assume, well, not just the laboratory, but the university, and I think we all just sort of assume that the lizard is going to be where the mushrooms would have been kept. So I think on heads, the lizard is exactly where we expect it, and on tails, it is not, and we have to spend a lot of time looking around for it. Oh no. Spend a lot of time looking around for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's tricky because y'all got lungs.
Yeah.
So, we have only 3 coins. When you end the game, if you have 4 or more coins, you find your quarry and defeat it. If you have 3 coins, you tussle with your quarry and you both live to fight another day. If you have 2 coins, you lose your quarry. If you have 1 coin, you don't find concrete signs of your quarry. If you have none, your quarry ambushes and nearly destroys you. Obviously, this is a slightly different situation. But I think to stick with the vibe of these possible endings, I wonder if it is a question then, if these selves will be able to make it back.
Yeah.
Oof.
I mean, with 3 coins, it is like both parties live to fight another day.
Mm-hmm.
Something about like, I don't know, my brain just went totally
I have an
blank.
idea.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. What we got?
Maybe we spend a bunch of time looking around for the lizard or something, and just when we're getting very concerned that we might run out of air or something like that, we see not actually mushrooms, but like mushroom-shaped graffiti on one of the walls. And I think we follow that graffiti and get to basically just like a higher point of the university. And we manage to find a point where we are above the water. And when we get there, we climb out, and the lizard is there. It is like basking in the sunlight and like almost appears to have been waiting for us. And I think as we all see it, the lizard, like, I think like everybody gets out of the water. And is everybody okay with me like putting the button on this one? Because I have a thought.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that the like everybody gets out of the water and we see this giant lizard still with the mushrooms on it. Maybe they're like slightly different colors or slightly different shapes, but recognizable enough that it's like, yes, this is our lizard. And the lizard like doesn't like pay us any attention until we're all up there, and then sort of looks at us and then like gets up, like stands, and it's like I feel like we said it was like alligator sized or crocodile sized, somewhere in there. So it's not like so huge that it's looming over us or anything, but it's big enough that as it starts to, you know, sort of waddle towards us, there is like a brief concern that maybe we might be in danger? Question mark. And then I think it takes a breath, and it's this big breath, like one of those like movie sounding deep inhale of a large creature.
Mhm.
And we can even see like its chest expanding a bit. And then it blows out. Instead of like fire or ice or anything like that, it's a bunch of spores. It blows out a bunch of spores, and they almost look like stars or glitter or something. And there's so much that for just a moment, our view of everything is obscured. And then there's a breeze, and as the breeze whips the sparkles or spores away, we realize that we are on Paradise. And I really should have known what the Paradise place that actually looks like before I started saying things. But
it's like a tropical island.
Okay, excellent.
There's a starting point.
So, yeah, there's sunlight overhead. There was already sunlight overhead, but now it's hot sunlight instead of cold, and maybe some palm trees, stuff like that.
Word.
Oh, yeah.
Well done.
Good job. Love that visual.
Yes. And with that, we bring chapter 4 of the Ultraviolet Catastrophe to a close. Join us next week for the final chapter, where we play Karma, a game by... I totally knew this. Gareth H. Graham, I believe, but let me double check because I want to be correct.
Yes, you're correct.
Nice. And we will see what happens with our dear characters on this tropical island. And we will see you, dear audience, next week, 1 p.m. Eastern on this channel on Saturday. And as always, thank you for listening. Playing with me today has been Schrag.
I continue to be Schrag. My pronouns continue to be him. You can continue to find me on the internet. Maybe not the Secret Frog. Maybe try the Secret Frog. The one where it has a the in front of it seems to be collapsing.
Yeah. Jade.
I'm Jade. I'm sleepy. I'm on the internet at Jade Oxford Rose. Y'all know where to find me. Oh, hey, come over to the Roomware Discord server if you're not there already, and chat with us about the streams or about your favorite piece of media, or just come scream, or throw some money at my GoFundMe so I can get top surgery. Whatever floats your boat. Ha! Last boat pun of the episode.
We've also had Dirk.
Hello, I remain Dirk for the foreseeable future. You can find me on the Hope's Hearth podcast, on SCP Research Archives, in the Hearthside Enclave server, also in the Roomware server, generally screaming. That's me.
And Danielle.
I've been Danielle. You can continue to find me on the internet wherever you get good content at Redtail Talk 90.
I almost thought you were going to say at Citadel of Swords.
I thought you'd forgotten your own user handle for a second with that pause. So,
You're not wrong.
And I've been August. You can find me on the Birdly Hell site at Harpydora. You can find me on the Gay Furry Autism website at Strange Harpy. And
That's Tumblr, if you didn't know.
yes. Yes. So
It's good enough for the Reddit refugees. It's good enough for y'all.
Yep.
Just because I'm gay doesn't mean I'm a furry. I am a homestuck.
But that's worse, though, right? You understand how that's worse.
Thank you for saying it. Thank you.
All right, good night, everybody. Be good people. Stay safe.
Peace.
Good night.
Bye.
Peace.